Hey, what's up, everybody? It's summertime. I got the summer beard. I'm trying to keep up with my man, Neely. He's got like 4 summer beards going on there, but that's his look. That is the look of the man in Jackson, Mississippi from The Pregame Show. We are unofficially into summer, man. You got players working out. We got a big Deion Sanders football camp on the way. It is football 12 months a year in Jackson, keeping you busy, and that's a great thing, man.
Yeah, it is exactly 12 months a year of football here at Jackson State and in Jackson, Mississippi. You get that one little window, Tolly, somewhere where there's a sliver of April when that spring camp shuts down in that first part of May. But right after that, you're back at it June, and there's no turning back now to the Celebration Bowl. So there will be something every day, every week, every month. We're about 90 days away from the Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. So we're going to be rolling to the end and rolling to the Celebration Bowl. Football, 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 football.
Wow, man, those days are ticking by fast. All right, let's work backwards and go forward. Walk-on tryouts, that was a big thing last week. You were there. What Coach Sanders, he didn't send some assistants out. He didn't send the scout crew. He was there in person. What was the energy like at walk-on tryouts at Jackson State?
High energy, just to have the head coach's presence there. You look at Power 5s around the nation, you just traditionally don't see the head coach out there dealing with that kind of thing. He's dealing with the scholarship players and doesn't even show up at practice until the assistants get practice going. But Coach Prime himself was out there while the walk-ons were checking in and registering and watching their drills and critiquing and coaching, and met with the ones who were selected at the end and had a great conversation with them. You had about 60 players show up and try to grasp that opportunity to join this team, and that was whittled down to about 17. And Coach Prime met with that 17 and said, hey, let's get this straight. You guys are invited to camp when camp starts, but we're going to take this 17 down to 10, and most of y'all are going to do that hard work for us. Because keep in mind, you're now trying to compete against our team. All you did today was beat guys that you could beat, guys that didn't make it. So you haven't done anything yet, but you got potential, and we're going to reward that potential by inviting you to summer camp. But the walk-ons, man, they were excited. And one of the things that Coach Prime does, you go to a lot of programs and you can tell the difference between a walk-on player and a scholarship player. At Jackson State, you don't. They get off that airplane in the same suits. They enjoy the same rights and privileges. So it is a big deal to be a walk-on at Jackson State University, and to do so under the tutelage of Deion Sanders. You could just see the excitement in their eyes when they finally made that final cut and he was talking to them. They were enamored with the process and looking forward to being a part of the team.
All right, so I don't want you to go into hyperbole here. And I want you to give me credit for hyperbole in case you outdo me with your word of the day between now and the next 30 minutes of you talking.
I will work so far. You fail.
All right. I'm a clubhouse leader right now. Is this a natural environment of college football with what you saw, tryouts and the level of energy that was there, or has that been elevated? Did it kind of give it a pro football, training camp, undrafted free agent type roster, vibe? You tell me. I don't want to put words into the situation. I wasn't there.
Well, I think it's a fair question and preface for you to ask me to remove hyperbole. I'm going to use your word back at you. I can tell you this, without comparing to other people, Jackson State has never had 60 plus kids come out to try to walk on. So that in and of itself is some extra excitement and enthusiasm. And these were not just guys in the dorm who just said, hey, let me go see if I can do this. These were guys who have played in high schools and colleges around the nation, who have found themselves students at Jackson State and just want to try to grasp that gold ring. Everybody's seen that Notre Dame movie, Rudy. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, said he even cried watching Rudy. So just to see that enthusiasm and people grasping that opportunity, this gift, if you will, and a chance to make this team and be a part of this historic HBCU resurgence, I don't think that it's a stretch at all, Tyler, to say that this was next level stuff. This was excitement for the coaches, excitement for those student athletes who, before they got selected, were just students.
Is there a kid there that could have been playing somewhere else but saw this as his only opportunity to try to get on this team and just said, I'm going to be a student. As soon as they have tryouts, I'm going to go out there and shoot my shot?
There were some students out there who had transferred to Jackson State for, say, academic reasons or other personal family reasons, who had been on other college teams as recent as this past fall, but did not have scholarships there or didn't want to be walk-ons there, but were prepared or stated out their own mouths, I don't want to walk on there, but I'll walk on for Deion Sanders. So, there's some people out there that are going to stick and make this team and have something to contribute. Coach Hart picked about 5 linebackers. I'd imagine about 2 or 3 of those would stick, and he likes what he picked for his unit group. He thinks someone from that group is going to be able to contribute and make an impact. And if nothing else, importantly, they add to that depth and add to that ability to have scout teams on practice, to prepare. So this is all about, making sure you got everything covered as you build a team. You can't just have starters, Tyler. You got to have somebody to practice with.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I love getting 4-star, 5-star kids. I hope we can fill up rosters with that. But my favorite part of college athletics is the kid who just gets it from the mud. He may not, be your leading scorer, tackler, or whatever, but in whatever way he can contribute and to come from nowhere and, really have low expectations and reap those high rewards personally. Those are always my favorite stories. So Godspeed to all the kids, not only at Jackson State, but everywhere, just trying to make it happen. All right, so as we go backwards, Neely, and come forward in time, we got more Jackson State football, but let's talk a little personal stuff here. I saw you on Facebook, man. You were clean as a whistle, brother. You were sharp. Look, beard was tight, your suit, no baseball hat allowed. What were you doing, man? Why were you so sharp over the weekend or last week?
I appreciate the compliment on the wardrobe, but I'm not going to let you just refer to that as a suit. That was a tuxedo. I know Carolinas, you might not have ever seen a tuxedo, but that was not a suit. That was a tuxedo.
We wore overalls, man. We got fans.
Well, it was an honor. The Jackson Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, which I happen to be a member of, was recognizing hometown heroes in different categories, and I was recognized in the business category for the innovation in the business of podcasting, something that you and I have, partnered on and doing some work to grow HBCUs and shine the spotlight on that. So, they were honored you got here. I know there's probably going to be a glare there. We got a nice little memento, something to applaud the work that's been done and encourage the work to keep going. So I appreciate the Kappas of Jackson alumni for honoring your boy in that fashion, man. So I had to get clean and put that tuxedo on, not a suit.
All right. Hand clap, golf clap for Neely, my man. All right, let's go back to my country folks in North Carolina. So I go home for a couple of days, Memorial Day weekend. Why do my relatives love Neely? Why am I sitting at my mother was like, ooh, I like that. He was really smart. He was articulate. Like, Mom, how about your boy? I mean, come on. One of my cousins. Oh, I like that Neely. He called you assistant coach. He said, I like that guy, that assistant coach at Jackson State. Yeah, he's good. I didn't correct him because I know you like that.
Hey, I appreciate correct him. A lot of the players call me Coach Neely. I accept it. But, Tyler, I got to tell you, the ones that don't call me Coach Neely, they call me Uncle Neely. Thanks to you. And everywhere I go, Tyler, here's what I get. Hey, man, I like that Tyler fella. Y'all got good kids. Y'all do a great job together. Y'all should do more things. I was like, I really don't like working with them. So.
Oh, that's good, man. You put me on in Jackson. I got you on in North Carolina.
Shout out to your family in North Carolina. Neely loves y'all too. And, just keep praying for me because I have to put up with your relatives.
Yeah, they know. They know. All right, let's get back to some real stuff here. We got a big football camp this weekend. The Deion Sanders. What's the official name of the camp?
There are 3. You have the skills camp, which will be taking place first on Thursday, and 400 high school athletes have registered for that. So that's going to be really your more traditional camp that you see coaches put on around the nation. Then on Friday, there's an elite camp that has 175 players registered. And that's the one where when you see ESPN, for instance, come out with this top 300 ranking, that's the kind of camp where they pull those kids from. And they'll actually be here, some of those rankings people, and we'll be assigning ranks to some of those players. So you got 400 on Thursday, 175 on Friday, and then about 27 on 7 teams coming in Saturday for a 7-on-7 game series that's with Coach Prime and also Under Armour. So 3 days in a row, Coach Prime camps. Last summer he did the 1-day camp, which had Terrell Owens out there running routes with Jackson State DBs, and he had the Honey Badger there and Demario Davis from the Saints. So I'm sure that over the next 3 days for these series of camps, you're going to have some of his friends and colleagues in as well. But those kids, Tyler, they don't get here by themselves. Those are families, aunties, uncles, grandmothers, moms, dads bringing them. So that's an influx of economic development for the city, the hotels, the restaurants. It's a prime time to be in Jackson, no pun intended.
Yeah, that's that number they need to add at the end of the year when they do the economic impact. It's more than just Saturdays at the vet. Like this, it goes deeper than that. So keep those calculator fingers going. What is the win for Jackson State? Like, is there a pathway where some of these players, might don the J hat, or is this just all out, community service, giving back to the game?
Well, Charlie, we keep that J hat nearby, because when you put J hat around, it doesn't lose. When it's on the table, everybody's signing with Jackson State. So yes, you want to showcase Jackson. The events will be held at the vet and on campus for the 7-on-7. So you want to put Jackson in the best spotlight for these kids to consider coming to Jackson State. But Coach Prime has made it clear to other coaches, come shoot your shot. He has coaches from other colleges that'll be participating in these camps and be on site. And if you see something you like, man, holler at them. Those are his words, that this is something that we just want to encourage the best of the best to consider HBCUs. And that's more than just Jackson State. We want everybody we can get, but everybody can't fit here. Everybody can't come. So all these other colleges will be invited. Other coaches will be around. But the end game is, you hit it on the head. We want the best of the best to consider Jackson State, see what we have to offer, and of course, eventually sign with us. And these are ninth graders to rising seniors. So they're in that marketplace to be considering colleges. And, we're going to just show them what we got to offer. They'll see our stadium, see our campus, and maybe one day they'll pick that J hat up off that table.
Is this something Jackson State has traditionally done, or are these camps new under Coach Sanders?
There's always been camps. Coach Reed, for instance, has her camps for women's basketball going on the same time frame. Coach Mo Williams has his camps later in June and early July. And even Coach Omar has his baseball camps coming up. But, you add in a Deion Sanders, man, a Coach Prime, things just go up more than another level. They go up 21 levels. Now, that is a pun intended. So you see things bigger with more showcasing involved. And, you have it over 3 days. And you have partners, such as Under Armour, such as Gatorade. You have all these people come to the table because of who he is and what he brings to the table. So it's not your run-of-the-mill typical summer camp done by a college head coach. This is something more in line with what you see at the Power Fives all the way up to the NFL. All
right, 2023 signees have been coming in. You had a 4-star receiver. That was Isaiah Kendall, right? Because my daughter's name is Kendall, so that was easy to remember. Traditionally, have the next year recruits been signing on this early? Is that a special thing? I always like to put news into context.
Yeah, I think context is fair. I'm not going to sit here and say that has never happened before, but it is odd. You start seeing those kind of announcements, November, December, and January, and even all the way into February when National Signing Day comes to a close. So for a kid of that caliber to announce this early and really just cut off, any more potential visits or suitors, I think it's a big statement that is happening for HBCU. To have a 4-star, potentially 5-star, declare late in the spring or early in the summer before even playing his full senior year. No need to text or call me. Get out my inbox. Don't slide in my DM. I'm going to Jackson State.
Yeah, that's really big, man. Wow. Now, you got to have a place to put all these kids, Neely. You told me, while, we like to talk about, all the great things that are happening, we got to talk about everything, good, bad, or ugly. And housing was something that you wanted to touch on. What is the overall, in your opinion, HBCU housing situation when it comes to not only student athletes, but students as well? And more precisely, what's going on there at Jackson?
Well, I think it's a challenge. I think it's something that we have to address. Even recently, Coach Prime took to his Instagram page and called out a clarion call to folks who have real estate in Jackson, our own apartment buildings, or homes that can be leased out, that we have to have a place to put players. We have to have a place to put recruits. There are just simply not enough dorms on campus. And I think that's something that is not just germane to us at Jackson State. It's an HBCU program. As we put the spotlight back on HBCUs and grow recruitment, you got to have a place for young people to come. It's a problem that we're going to have to solve by building our way out of it, but that takes time. So before we build our way out of it, you got to have partnerships. You got to get with people in real estate and find places that young folks are comfortable staying and their parents are comfortable for them to stay. Because it's a major part of recruitment. One of the things that Power Fives, have up on us is, that level of on-campus living, modern dorms and that kind of thing with bells and whistles. And so we're crawling out of the dark ages, Tali, and trying to, put everything we can on the table to get the best of the best who want to be here. But as you said, it's not a student athlete problem. It's a student problem. That you're seeing increased enrollment at HBCUs, but you're not seeing increased building. So students got to go somewhere. The top two things that we talk about when we're talking with parents and recruits is, where's my child going to sleep and what is he going to eat? These things are simple. This is not like about NIL that people want to make it about. This is about the simplistic things of life. Is my child going to sleep in a safe environment and he's going to get some hot meals in him? That's what people want. And right now, one of the challenges at Jackson State University specifically, but probably HBCU wide, is dorm space and modern dorm space. And dorm space says, Wi-Fi and fiber optic and all the latest bells and whistles. It's a challenge we got to face. You go to business school, Tyler, they teach you about SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is one of our weaknesses, and it is certainly a threat if we don't address it and start addressing it now.
Yeah, because it works two ways, right? Your athletics become better, more visibility, more successful. Just regular, quote unquote, regular students want to come because they want to be a part of that. They want to, get front row seats to Jackson State football and Jackson State basketball. But you got to have some place. You got to have some place to put them. So as you increase the level of athletes, all that trickles down to the overall success of the university as far as growth.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a great problem. You would want to have, if you got to pick a problem to have, this is the one to have. That I'm growing so fast and so rapidly, I don't have enough space for people to come. But when you're in business and you've seen this in commercials, and the guy's building widgets and he's getting 1 and 2 orders and he's fulfilling them, and all of a sudden he's got 2,000 orders and the company can't fulfill them and he goes out of business. That's what we don't need to happen in HBCUs or particularly Jackson State. We got to get ready and be prepared for this influx of interest and thereby students, from programs like this, or even Coach Prime's documentary that was on Barstool. You have people who never heard of JSU and watch that, and some kids going, hey, I want to go to school there. But if you don't have the space, the infrastructure to handle that influx of growth, then you start declining and going the opposite way, because not only you're not getting new customers, and that's what students are, they're your customer base, you begin to lose students because you can't fulfill your obligations to them. So it's a concern. It's on our radar. It's something that Coach Prime is passionate about. We love discussing building stadiums and doing those kind of things with athletics, but housing is where it's at, and this was what we got to address.
Yeah, Texas Southern, they were talking about the impact of Megan the Stallion. I like to hit those double E's, Neely. But Megan, she, lets everybody know she's at Texas Southern. She graduates. They saw a surge. So there's this renaissance, I like that word, renaissance period for HBCUs, but you got to be ready. You got to be ready for that incoming tide, or else that tide's going to roll back out and take a lot of your sand off the beach. One way to look at it. Nick Saban came out this week and he kind of apologized, kind of said that's not what I meant, half-hearted. I don't know. However you want to rate the apology. It seems to me, though, that this time around, Jackson State wasn't included in the narrative. It was, they got called out the first time, but on the back end, it was more about Texas A&M and Alabama. Is it just time to move on from all that? No need to hold your breath for the public apology?
You know, Coach Prime has made it clear. Public disrespect takes a public conversation and apology. So we'll see if that happens between these two great coaches with all they bring to the table. But I will say this, Tyler, I hope we never move on. You know, anything that keeps a story like that going is beneficial to these programs that we're trying to grow. And when you have a person the caliber of Nick Saban mentioning in the context of a threat to Jackson State University, no, let's keep that conversation going. Let's have it. You know, Power Fives are that concerned about what we are doing over here that we're at the forefront of their thought when they're making examples to their boosters. I'm all for it. And as far as apologies go, you know, I don't know if it'll happen. I will say this, Tolly, you know, and I just mentioned his boosters. I really don't think he was attacking Jackson State as much as he was just speaking freely to his audience. You know, what he was saying was, hey, look, guys, Texas A&M, no matter how they did it, I'm not going to get into his allegation, they got the #1 recruiting class. And then you got Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, 2 years into coaching, getting the #1 recruiting nation. If you guys don't step up, old Nick Saban ain't going to be able to compete no more. He was really trying to motivate his base more than he was trying to diss us. But in that diss of us to motivate his base, man, it helped us. I want to send them an edible arrangement. You know, let's keep talking about what Jackson State is doing and how threatening that is to the Power 5 establishment. That only just bodes well for us.
You know, Travis Hunter was a big part of that conversation. I've seen things online where people are raving about how he's bulking up and getting bigger. I saw him intercept. I would assume he intercepted Shadura. I didn't see who passed it. He might have intercepted JP or somebody, but he caught the ball and then threw the ball. Like, get that junk out of here. Don't come at me with that. And Coach Sanders really highlighted that. He really talked about how he loves the competitive spirit and, you know, that one-on-one coaching where, you know, Travis just seeks out Coach Sanders and they're going over all the minutia of playing defensive back. You've had eyes on him for a while. How would you rate his progress and what he's been like to watch him go through his process as a football player?
Well, he is certainly as advertised. He has exceeded expectations. You know, his ability to be a true teammate, his ability to challenge other DBs, and when he's playing wide receiver, challenge them. His ability to catch a pass from Shador for a touchdown, and 3 plays later pick off a pass that Shador was trying to throw for a touchdown. He is what he is. But most importantly, what I don't want to get lost in this shuffle is he's a good person from a good family. You know, his mom has been here to the blue and white game and spoke glowingly about her support for what Coach Prime is building here. And Travis talked about, hey, man, you know, people said I wouldn't have an opportunity here, that there wasn't not enough competition here for me to get better. He'll tell you there is competition here. You know, he is going up against some of the best receivers in the nation when he plays defensive back. And when he switches to receiver, he's being guarded by guys who are just as capable and talented as he is. He is just a unicorn, man. He is one of those once-in-a-generational talents, much like Deion Sanders, Coach Prime was. And they have so many similarities when they were the same age ability-wise. It's going to be interesting to see how the gold standard for playing both ways at that position, DB and receiver, is going to work with this new generation guy and get him to the next level. But so far, so good. I cannot wait for the next 90 days for us to get to Miami. I bet you're going to see Travis Hunter play both sides of the ball.
Have you been able to tell, either from conversation or analyzing body language, does it seem that Coach Prime is getting a kick out of coaching someone, and maybe the first time ever, because it's such a high standard, of someone who might most closely remind himself of himself?
I think you can see that, but I don't think it's just limited to Travis Hunter. I think he's excited about this entire team. You know, I was out there today with conditioning, man, and this offensive line looks great. You know, they reported back in some great shape, and those new additions to the team are ready to play and leading the way. You know, there were no people dragging butt or sandbagging, if you will. Same thing with this receiving core, the additions to it. You know, you look at the depth now on that defensive line. I think Coach Prime is excited about everything he has, and he would truly tell you that we went undefeated in the SWAC last year and won a championship. But this coming team this fall, position, unit to unit, is better than the one we just had.
It's going to be exciting to see, man. I'm not trying to rush through summer. I want to savor every moment. But 3 months away from the Orange Blossom Classic, that's going to be huge. How do you feel, Neely? I'm like, oh, I love that. I love the matchup, but it's so early, man. And that one game can decide the whole division before we even get started.
You know, we do the interviews for Coach Prime for halftime and postgame for Jackson State football, along with JSU TV and the JSU Radio Network. And I remember specifically interviewing Coach Prime after the Orange Blossom Classic and that 7-6 win. And he said, man, this was Ali Frazier. You know, this is all you could ask for. Like this is when you know you got a game. And he's always said that you know, blowout games, you know, beating somebody 42-10 is not what football is. But when you have those 14-10 games and those 28-21 games and those 7-6 games, that's when that coaching and athleticism and that determination shows through. And last year, you know, that Orange Blossom Classic finished 7-6 with Jackson State on top. But if you look at what happened the rest of the season, FAMU never lost another SWAC game. Jackson State never lost another SWAC game. Both those teams are in the Eastern Division. So like you said, Tyler, you prefaced and set it up well. That week one in Miami, it really determines how the SWAC is going to be won. And that the winner of that game is sitting pretty, but has got to keep going. But the loser of that game, you need help. You know, you got to assume who beat you is going to keep rolling. Now you're going to need somebody else to beat them, and you're going to have to win out to really just have a chance at it. So, you know, there's no doubt about it that the Eastern Division is somewhat on the line, you know, week one in Miami.
All right. I know you don't want to visualize a loss. I know you don't look at it that way, but entertain me, entertain the crowd. Have you ever given thought to, let's say Jackson State loses to FAMU, wins out, now they're in the FCS playoffs. Have you ever thought what a run to an FCS championship might look and feel like for Jackson State?
I can honestly answer this, Tolly, and say I've never thought about that because I never think about losing. And I know that's going to sound like, you know, Homer talk, but I just don't focus on that. But for the sake of this discussion, I can tell you that Coach Prime and his staff and the Jackson State Tigers are going to be prepared week to week for every opportunity. So if we end up at the end of the season going the playoff route, you know, our versus championships or celebration bowls, we're going to make the most of the opportunity. And I think it would be, you know, something that the sports world would tune into and want to be involved in, to see Jackson State coached by Coach Prime, you know, going up against the Power Five, you know, in the playoff bracket. I don't think that's a loss, for instance, for the HBCU space. But let's not get it twisted. I'm just answering your question. What all these coaches are trying to do, Willie Simmons, you know, and FAMU celebrated going that playoff route last year. But everybody right now for this entire summer, they're focusing on the SWAC championship and thereby Celebration Bowl. Nobody is playing to go to the playoffs. It's a nice, you know, consolation prize, if you will, but it's nobody's goal. The goal is the SWAC championship. And if you win the SWAC championship, you get invited to it.
You know, I know how the money matches up. But I'm wondering, at the end of the day, Neely, again, we're just a little brain exercise here.
Sure.
If you were the FCS football champion at the end of the year, like you won the whole championship as opposed to a Celebration Bowl, which one would be a little sweeter?
But, Tolly, you're leaving out some steps. You know, to win the whole thing for the FCS, you got to win a couple games.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
there's no doubt about it. You know, a FCS championship compared to a bowl celebration championship, sure, I get that. But the process to get there and what the goals are when you start off, you know, practicing in the spring and finish your spring games and going to the summer and going to those two-a-days. Ain't nobody doing that to go to that playoff bracket. You're doing that to win the SWAC championship. Winning the SWAC championship places you in the Celebration Bowl. So I get, you know, your example. I get what you're putting out there. I'm not the Rock, but I can smell what you're cooking. But man, coaching the SWAC sitting around right now going, hey man, you know, we got to get to that playoff. No, they want to win the SWAC championship.
You know what I would like to hear? And this is all hypothetical, if a SWAC team won the Celebration Bowl and another SWAC team won the FCS championship, I would like to hear them debate about who had the better season. I would sit down for that. I would like to hear that.
I not only would love to hear that debate, I can't wait for that to happen because that means we have truly leveled the playing field for HBCUs. We have got to stop trying to just navigate and be successful in one space. There's enough room in college football that we should have HBCUs competing and winning with the mid majors, competing and winning with the Power Fives. We should have HBCUs winning the SWAC and winning the MEAC and winning the Celebration Bowl. I can't wait for every time you turn on ESPN and all the subsidiary networks, all the way down to ESPN Ocho, that you have an HBCU participating. That's what we're trying to accomplish at Jackson State through HBCU Gameday, through the pregame show. It's not just one thing or the other. Why can't we have it all? They currently have it all. Every channel you put it on, they're on every channel. Why can't we be on every channel?
All right, take us inside the mind of Coach Sanders. This is the main thing we were supposed to talk about, and I dilly-dallied all the way to the end. Deion Sanders, Willie Simmons, they made the headlines talking about how the OBC Orange Blossom Classic should be on the big ESPN, not the ESPN2, not the little brother. And all the literal people, well, they got the U.S. Open. Oh, that's crazy. You don't even know. I never took it as a literal argument. I took it as a conversation starter to keep Jackson State, to keep FAMU, to keep SWAC out there. People were talking, so I thought effective. That's a win. And to keep them talking in the situation of we need more. We need to push it forward. Even if that specific example wasn't the one or that specific example wasn't feasible, still use it as an opportunity to push the argument is the way I took it. How did you take it?
I feel the same way about it. And if you want to take some juxtaposition, that's a word trying to compete with your two. You're up 2-1. But if you want to take some juxtaposition, the argument shouldn't be whether we're on ESPN or ESPN2. The argument should be why we're not the ABC night game of the week. That's the kind of push we need to be doing. And I think that's what Coach Prime and Coach Simmons are trying to do, to keep our names at the forefront and say, why not us? Look at the examples. Look at the crowds we draw in person at the stadium, which looks good on TV to advertisers for special events that go around at the stadium. Look at what our market share and our viewer share is when our games are on ESPN or other platforms that ESPN produces. So there's merit for us to be on ESPN, no matter what else is going on in the sports world. So I get it from the literal sense and the figurative sense. These are two guys, Coach Willie Simmons and Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, who are not settlers. They're not just going to say, okay, well, we're on ESPN Ocho, that's fine. ESPN3, that's fine. ESPNU this week, that's fine. They're going to keep pushing for this level playing field because our fan base, what we bring to the table, what we can offer advertisers with our huge amount of expendable income and purchasing power. Why wouldn't we be the primary game on ESPN or again, game on ABC, a major network all the time? I think we have to get out of the mindset of that something is bigger than us and we're not on it because they're on it. What we're trying to do is have a conversation about equal footing. Why not us? Look at the numbers. Look what our audience brings to the table. Consider those factors in the years to come and start scheduling these games ahead of time and getting them booked on TV because the merit is there for us to be on that level of TV.
Listen, when you're going against, history, when you're going against the odds, you got to say some things that might sound crazy within the vacuum. That's how you push the broader, argument. Because if you just stay comfortable and content with small gains, that's all you're going to get while everyone surrounding you is making leaps and bounds. You can't be satisfied. So I'm all for people saying crazy stuff. Not that it was crazy, but, maybe unreasonable, untenable, whatever, as long as it fits into, I can see the larger vision. I mean, look, Donald Trump came down the escalator and said, I'm going to be president. And everybody, including himself, thought, man, no, you're not. It happened. Like you gotta push those boundaries and push them hard. You never know where you'll end up.
Yeah, one of the tenets, that's another word, one of the tenets of the laws of attraction is eventually the universe gives you what you believe you deserve. And so you have to have these conversations about your station in life and how you view yourself to get other people to view you that way. And if you only see yourself as an ESPNU guy or an ESPN3 guy, well, that's what you're going to be. But when you start demanding, why not us on ESPN? Why not us on ABC? Hey, NBC, why don't you guys pick it up? Hey, Fox, why don't you do it? Or I tell you what, if you guys not going to do it, tell you what, we'll become your competition and we'll build our own network and our own platforms to get it out there and see how you like that. One thing we have to appreciate, Tolly, I don't care if it is HBCUs in general or even Christianity. Every institution was once a revolution. Anything that you walk outside your door and see that is mainstream, people had to fight for it to exist. It became mainstream after the fight. So don't laugh at Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, or Willie Simmons for throwing out this notion, because you're going to look up in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and what they said to get your attention and then fought for and deliver their product is going to be a reality. Every institution was once a revolution.
Great. Even if you don't have the greatest words, you had the greatest point right there. So I'm going to let you win that one, Neely. And I just hate it. I hate it when I see brothers trying to explain to other brothers why you shouldn't have said that. I hate that. I'm like, oh my God, you like saw what he was saying and you viewed it literally, and you're trying. It's that employee mind. I hate that employee mindset, man. It's like, boss man ain't gonna let you do. I hate that. I hate that, man. I hate it. But what are you gonna do?
We're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep pushing the envelope. We're gonna keep the conversation going. We're gonna keep winning over minds and hearts and letting people know that, hey, this ain't for play, man. You know, we are here to build HBCUs to the prominence that they are, that they deserve. Whether someone on the other side wants to recognize it or not, we recognize it. And again, Tolly, and I always say this about HBCU Gameday. I always say it about the pregame show and Dr. Gaville inside the sports lab. We have technology. We have phones with Wi-Fi. We have the ability to send a signal out worldwide without anybody's permission. We're going to reach a point where we grow and understand, all right, it's time to stop asking boss man or Mr. Charlie, if you will, to put us on his. Let's put us on our own and show them what we can do ourselves. And the advertisers are going to come running and knocking down the door because they know the purchasing power that the Black community has and that the audience for HBCU sports has. And so it could work. We're trying to just go into what already exists, that pipeline of infrastructure that exists. But if we keep running up against this door that refuses to open, we're going to build our own door. We're going to build our own mansions, and we're going to show the world what HBCU branding is all about, and the conversation to be moved.
I am totally 1,000% behind you. Now listen, Neely, sports is one thing. You know, it doesn't match the importance of civil rights and things like that that played out in our life cycles that have helped push the freedoms that we have and some that we're still fighting for. But just remember, some of y'all granddaddies thought Martin Luther King was crazy. Like y'all thought, what are you doing? Martin, go sit down. They're not going to let us get up from the back of the boat. We can't drink their water, Martin. Stop being a troublemaker. Revisionist history. Everybody loved Martin Luther King. Everybody loved Ali. That wasn't the case.
I was going to example. You know, there's a magazine cover with Ali with arrows in them. You know, shot full of arrows. Then he goes on to light the Olympic torch. You know, in Atlanta, and now everybody was an Ali fan in the 60s and 70s. And that just was not the case. Just like everybody is not on our side right now, Tyler. Everybody does not believe what we believe, but thankfully, what we believe does not require other people to believe it for us to fight for it. So again, I fall back on every institution was once a revolution. This is indeed a revolution, and we are ready, and our heels are dug in, and we're manning the post, and we're going to make this thing happen with or without you. Would love to do it with you, but we're going to do it with or without you.
Show that trophy again, man. That's why you won that trophy, man. Innovation in a podcast, and it's about to be all across the nation on a larger scale, man. That is why Uncle Neely is the man. THEE, the man. Brother, I always appreciate your time, man. I always love where the conversation goes and where it ends up. Enjoy some of that Jackson heat as you go out and check out players' conditioning, and you got camps coming up this weekend, man. Hydrate. That's going to be the word of the day. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Now, it is unbelievably hot for the time in June. So out there today with conditioning, I can't imagine the shape these guys are going to be in August if it only gets hotter across the summer. We're going to hydrate up. We got some good camps and events going on in the city as we promote Jackson State and other HBCU sports. And always a pleasure to be on HBCU Gameday and what you guys do for the bigger brand as we try to put a little spotlight on our corner universe at 1400 Lynch Street.
All right, get you a Jay Sun hat. You need a Jay Sun hat for for the weekend. From Thee Pregame Show, you can check him and Charles Bishop out. The handle is at Thee Pregame Show on all social media platforms. For HBCU Gameday, I'm Tyler Carr. We'll see you guys later. Neely, that list you sent me,
Yeah.
did that include the elite kids, or is that just the first day kids?
To rename them. I sent you 2 different ones.
Okay.
One that 4 name, that's the general pop, and the 175 is the elite kids.
Okay, gotcha. So